Welcome to NFN Radio News, home of no-holds-barred commentary about the issues of our times, plus great weekly interviews with fascinating people. Some of them top experts in their field, others simply with interesting stories to tell. You'll never know who'll show up at NFN Radio News, the podcast brought to you by notfakenews.biz, the daily blog that leans just a little to the left. Now here's your host, Bob Gaddy, editor and publisher of Not Fake News.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping by the NFN Radio News podcast. Today we check in with Dave Fleisher, who's just completed his third week of the Journey of Hope in memory of his daughter Sarah, who passed away in 2018 from a horrible cancer, cholangiocarcinoma. In this episode, Dave reports in from South Carolina after crossing the country and visiting several towns called Hope, several cholangiocarcinoma caregivers, patients, and families. Altogether, plans call for the trip to include stops in 17, maybe 18 towns named Hope all across the country. A major goal of the trip, which will take Dave to all 48 contiguous states, is to help raise money to support research into this disease, and during which they hope to spread awareness and bring hope to patients, caregivers, and others along the way. Dave reports that after 3 weeks of the journey, he's already closing in on the goal of $45,000, and the trip is only halfway completed. The journey is scheduled to end June 29 or July 1, depending on circumstances. That's pretty cool, Dave says. The road trip in a car with a specially designed wrap promoting cholangiocarcinoma awareness includes stops at various hospitals and healthcare institutions that specialize in research and treatment of the disease, in addition to the get-togethers with patients, caregivers, and healthcare providers who were important in Sarah's life. He says those visits have been remarkable. Cholangiocarcinoma starts in the bile duct and is an incredibly deadly cancer. It afflicts about 8,000 people in the United States every year. Most of its victims are 65 or older, but Sarah was only 31 when she was diagnosed. She passed away at age 35. The trip is being supported by the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation, which has made the specially designed Honda SUV available for the journey. Sponsors are Insight, Ken Garff Honda, QED Therapeutics, Servier, Taiho Oncology, Welch's Fruit Snacks, and Zymeworks. And now, let's talk with Dave Fleisher as he reports in after his third week on the Journey of Hope, during which he'll tell us about conversations he's had with people he calls the unknowings. Okay, Dave, so how has your last week gone? What have you been up to?
Well, as you would guess, I've covered a fair amount of ground, but not as much as in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of great meetups with a lot of patients and caregivers, as well as one of the pharmaceutical companies supporting the effort. So that's fantastic, actually.
That's great. Where are you now?
I just crossed the border from North Carolina into South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
On Interstate 5, somewhere close to what's known, I guess, as Blacksburg or Rock Hill.
And you said you're on what highway?
I-85.
I-85. You're going to hit 15 though, aren't you? Didn't you say that?
I did that yesterday in North Carolina and Virginia.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you did hit 15. All right. And you're headed where?
Today I'm going to Birmingham, Alabama, and I left Greensboro, North Carolina earlier today.
Are you getting tired of all this driving?
The only thing that makes me tired of it is the problems I have with my especially my right leg. I'm numb the whole time, so that's my only challenge. Other than that, things are great.
Well, good. So tell us about some of the highlights that you said you had a lot of meetings with caregivers and patients and a pharmaceutical company.
I had to think about this a little bit before we started because it's all starting to run together. But
Yeah.
last Saturday, I met a group of people in Holliston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
You know what? One of the things that this trip does is it gives me an opportunity to see a lot of towns I've never seen before.
Sure.
And Holliston is a very nice place. A pretty cool meetup in Hope, New Jersey, and continuing with my bagpipe scenarios. And then I on Tuesday I met with a number of people, close to 24, at the corporate offices of Insight Pharmaceutical in Wilmington, Delaware. And at that point, I was able to also speak with 2 Philadelphia television stations, and I did one live radio interview with a station in Delaware. So Tuesday was a busy day. Wednesday was a driving day, most of it, and then today is as well. So when I'm doing driving days, I get the opportunity to meet individuals that are really more of the what I call the unknowings. Those are impromptu conversations, and they're pretty meaningful. So
you're meeting them, like where? In places where you stop to eat or what?
like at the reception desk at the hotel,
Yeah.
at when I'm filling the car with gas, you name it.
So you're just picking up conversation with people. They'll say, "What's that car all about?" Probably, right?
Well, this morning's was a different one. This morning, yeah. To answer your question, yes, that's generally what it is. But this morning, the person at the desk at the hotel when I was checking out said, "So how was your stay?" And I said, "Fine." And he said, "Oh, when people say fine, that generally means it wasn't great. So what was it?" And I thought, oh my gosh, customer service. How about that? So I explained to him that I've been in a lot of different hotels in the last 3 weeks,
Right.
and so on and so forth. So he says, "Oh, so you understand what the hotel business is about?" And I said, "Yes, I do."
Yeah.
And so then he said, "Well, why are you staying in so many hotels?" And that started the conversation.
Oh,
And
okay.
and that was great. And so I gave him one of my little swag bags, and he said, "I'm going to wear this bracelet. I'll follow you online." And that's perfect. That's part of what the trip is all about.
Well, sure it is. That gives you a chance to talk to the unknowings and let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
have any of those conversations, whether it's with those folks or any of the patients that you've talked to, been particularly, meaningful to you, that you can tell us about?
I would point out one where I had a meeting with just one person in Hope, Rhode Island last Saturday. And that was a young woman, a mother, 37 years old, with twins that are 8 years old, that and married, that was diagnosed at Thanksgiving last year. And although she is a bundle of energy and is taking care of herself medically the way she should be, and by that I mean getting second opinions, exploring all the different options and those kind of things, she isn't that engaged with the cholangiocarcinoma community. So I had the opportunity to share ways that she can get more information and speak with people that know more about the science and that are actually going through what is going through now. And I thought that was very helpful for her to know that there are others that she can be reaching out to. And it was helpful for me because it made me feel as though I was contributing to the betterment of her welfare. So, that one really stood out, and that was a heart-to-heart kind of conversation because that was just one person instead of a large group.
Yeah.
So whether it's a large group setting or meeting with just one person,
Yeah.
They're all great, but they have different connotations to the conversations.
Yeah. So this woman, you said she's 38. She's got twins, and she's been taking care of herself, but she's got this horrible disease that is going to probably kill her.
Although there's no cure, I have met people on this trip that have been in what people would say no evidence of disease for 11 or 12 years. So that does give her hope that, if she can do the right things, that she can have that, have a quality of life for a number of years. And then maybe, if that can continue, hopefully there will be a cure that she'll be able to take advantage someday. So I never want to shortchange anybody's opportunities for the future.
You are the most upbeat guy I think I've ever known, Dave.
Well,
you really are. I mean, this has to be hard to do, what you're doing.
Yeah, it is at times, but it's also very gratifying. Each day something new happens that says, well, I wonder what tomorrow will bring, and it keeps me looking forward to it, because I'm on day 22, so I still have another 19 days to go or so. And I keep thinking I've done a lot, but then I realize I'm not even halfway yet on the mileage scale. So I got a long way to go.
Are you enjoying the trip itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I had an odd experience today, though.
Well,
when I say odd, it was like, what are the chances this would happen? So I was at the North-South Carolina border, and I try to take a picture of each of the states as I enter them with the sign.
Yeah.
And on Interstate 85, there's a lot of traffic and there's construction. And so I couldn't get a picture of the sign in a safe manner. So I got off at the immediate next exit, and I thought, I'll have to go back up into North Carolina, do another exit, come back down and try it again.
Right.
And then I saw this side road, a 2-lane road adjacent to the interstate. And I thought, it looks like I can go down this road, maybe take a picture from across the highway of the sign, and then get back on the interstate and continue. Well, it turns out there was construction on this little road, and there's a road crew and a guy standing there with a sign that says stop. So I stopped. and after 2 or 3 minutes, he waves me through, but he doesn't change the sign from stop to slow. So I'm like, dude, don't you think you ought to change the sign? And he just stood there, and so I said, okay, I guess this road is so, it's not traveled very often, so I guess I'm safe. And you go to yourself then, I wonder if I should be doing this, And it turns out it was okay.
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't have the GPS on, because I thought I was just going to be on I-85 for hours.
Right.
And I'm on this small road. I end up at a big quarry, and I continue on this small road, and I said, I'll just see where this comes out. And all of a sudden I come out onto another 2-lane road, but this one's paved, and there's a church and a cemetery. And I'm like, this is very familiar to me.
Really?
It turns out that I've only ever been in this part of South Carolina twice in my life. And the first time was 5 months ago when I was doing another road trip, a smaller one. And I was actually on this back road on my way to Kings Mountain National Park, which is a Revolutionary War park. And I'm like, what are the chances that within 5 months I'd be on the same back road in South Carolina than I had been before? And at least I recognized it, and I then knew how to get back to Interstate 85 without turning the GPS back on. But you never know what's around the next corner until you look. This is the way I thought about that one. So kind of strange.
What was it you wanted to take a picture of to begin with? What was that?
The sign that says "Welcome to South Carolina."
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing, though. I went through all this effort that took up about a half hour of my time.
Right.
And then I get back on Interstate 85, and about a mile or two after getting back on Interstate 85, there's this beautiful rest area with a huge sign outside that says "Welcome to South Carolina." I didn't have to go through any of that. So
we're going to take a quick break here for a message, but when we come back, Dave Fleisher is going to tell us all about how we met up with a professional bagpipe guy in Hope, New Jersey. It's worth a listen, so hang on.
happened there was once I started telling somebody about the bagpipe shop I was in Hope, Maine, a friend of mine said, well, I know a professional bagpiper. Do you want him to meet you in Hope, New Jersey? So I said, sure. And so I was greeted when I pulled into this beautiful farm in Hope, New Jersey, by the famous 400-year-old sycamore tree, about 24 people. And the owner of the farm that was gracious enough to allow me to stop to take pictures there, when I reached out to him a couple of months ago about doing that, I told him there would be 2 people, myself and 1 patient. And then last week I said, turns out that there's probably going to be about 12 people. And if that's an issue, I'll find another location in Hope, New Jersey to go to. And he said, no, come on. So there were about 24 people this time, family members and representatives from one of the sponsor companies for the drive and the bagpiper. And, you know, once they start playing Amazing Grace on the bagpipes, it's kind of magical. But, you know, bagpipers in Scotland, when they're in the Highlands area and they're playing outside, they're dealing with weather too. So it's not uncommon for them to be playing in pretty lousy conditions.
That's not your heritage, is it? You're not Scottish, are you?
I do have Scottish in me. And yeah. In fact, my mother was born in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. And her family had come from Scotland. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's kind of appropriate then.
Yeah. I guess it's in my DNA.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what other highlights have you got to tell us about this time?
You know, I like to do a couple of things that are lighthearted as I'm doing this. So today, I had to stop just a few minutes from my hotel in High Point, North Carolina, so I can see the world's largest chest of drawers.
So let's see now. You've seen the world's largest Holstein cow.
Yes.
You've seen the world's largest bison, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the world's largest, tallest tower, I think you said.
It was when it was built. Now it's the 4th tallest structure in the world.
Oh, okay. We want to make sure we get our facts right.
Still the tallest in the Western Hemisphere, though.
So now you've seen the world's biggest chest of drawers?
Yes. And here's the funny thing. So High Point, North Carolina is known as one of the premier furniture making cities in the world, I guess.
Right.
The chest of drawers is 38 feet tall. But what struck me was Salem Sue, that world's largest Holstein cow I saw last week, that was also 38 feet tall. So now I have to go back to figure out if that tallest bison is 38 feet tall too, because then I'm onto something.
Then you're onto something, yeah. I mean, you know, if you played the numbers, you'd want to play the number 38.
Yeah, or that might be my next road trip, the world tallest 38s, you know? One of the things, I don't know if you can see this is Mike Olangio, and Mike is it's a stress ball basically, but it represents, this is an animation for a mutation. And
okay, what is it?
This is on the side of my car, and people ask, what is that? What's that thing on the door that says biomarkersmatters.org? And basically, that's the opening to tell people that if you have a cancer, any cancer, especially a rare cancer, you need to have genetic testing done. So this stress comes from an animated video that was created to allow people to understand the importance of the genetics and the testing in lay terms. And it's on the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation website. But I'm traveling with this guy now, and I may have told you this before, but this reminds me of that soccer ball Wilson in the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, because I'm traveling with him now. And so I take pictures of this with different things I'm standing next to, whether they're historical markers or road route signs or whatever. And it turns out that what people seem to like about looking at stuff that I'm doing with the trip is they like Mike Alangio to see where he is in pictures, and they also like my green sunglasses. I don't usually wear green sunglasses like this, but it seems like on this trip, since cholangiocarcinoma, the color is green, it's resonating with people. So this guy has been turned into quite of a traveling partner for me, and I don't know, it's getting sillier by the day though, because what I'm doing with it.
You guys that are listening to this thing, if you want to see what it is that he's talking about, just look at the little pic that's with the episode this time, because that's what we're going to use. So where are you headed now?
Birmingham.
Birmingham, and then what?
So tomorrow I have a meetup in Birmingham in the morning, and then I have a meetup in Crestview, Florida, tomorrow afternoon, and that's going to be a tough one because I'm going to be meeting with a young man that's about 38 years old, and he lost his wife to cholangiocarcinoma several years ago. And I've never met him before, but he paints sneakers the color green and does all kinds of really cool design on them. And I think I might be getting a pair of sneakers tomorrow that are painted green for cholangiocarcinoma. But because my daughter had about 5 or 6 pair of them that he had made for her over the years, and so apparently he does this for a lot of people.
Okay.
And to make it tough though, tomorrow he's asked if I would go with him to his wife's resting place.
Oh.
And I haven't done that on the trip, and I think that's gonna be pretty powerful.
I think it'll be difficult too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I gotta hand it to you, Dave, for what you're doing. I mean, jeez.
And then tomorrow I end up in Mobile, and another patient who I don't know reached out to me and wanted to get somebody from the local media there. And unfortunately, I had to say no because I'm really tight for time, because I'm going to get there late tomorrow night, and I got to leave early Saturday morning because I'm going to another meetup in Mandeville, Louisiana, and in the morning. So I had to say no, and this is now the 3rd or 4th time I've had to say no to people, and I feel bad about that. I'm encouraged because people are reaching out and asking me to stop and visit, but to say no is tough because
Sure.
They're looking forward to seeing somebody that's doing what I'm doing, and it's gratifying, but it's disappointing too.
Well, safe travels, my friend. And what's your after Florida? Then what?
So then tomorrow, let's see, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, I'm making my way to Hope, Texas.
Okay.
Which is a few hours southwest of Houston.
Uh-huh.
Then Sunday, I have a big meetup in the Houston area. Then I head towards Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, making my way back to the Northeast so that I can then start heading west and covering the remaining states that I haven't done yet. And I'm now at state number 28. So I'm more than halfway there, but I'm only just about at 7,000 miles. So I have another 8,000 miles to go.
Wow. And the last thing I need to ask you is, how's the fundraising?
As of this morning or last night, we were at about $33,000. I know of another, I know of more that's coming. Hopefully that will get it to 40.
Right.
And the goal is 45, but this is already the second time the goal has been raised. So if I get to 45, maybe we'll go to the next 15 would be 60. So we'll see what happens, but continuing to make progress. And in fact, one of the things that's being done is, I think it's neat and it's kind of funny at the same time that t-shirts are being made that will be available online on Friday in the cholangiocarcinoma store, that the front has a logo, Journey of Hope. And then on the back of the shirt, it's got the 18 different towns of hope that I hope to get to, or I should say plan to get to, and the dates that I'm going. Now, originally, my goal was to do 15, and I put a couple of extras on there just so for some reason, if I had to substitute along the way, I could and still get to 15. Well, now that it's in print, that there's 18, I'm asking people, do I stick with the original goal or do I go with the new goal of 18 because it's printed? I feel like the t-shirt's kind of like a rock concert series thing, and if I don't go to 3 of them and I only go to 15, some of those towns might not ever invite me back.
Yeah.
Or I could, well, since I wasn't invited to begin with, maybe they just won't let me in.
Well, I think you need to go to them all.
Of course, Bob, because that's what everybody else is saying. No, you can't stop at 15. You got to go to the.
You put something on the shirt, that's it.
Yeah, that's another thing to spur me on. So.
Well, I got to find out how to get that shirt. How do I get that shirt?
I'll get you one.
Well, that's great. I thank you for that. But let's tell our listeners how they can get them. Okay.
You'll be able to go online to cholangiocarcinoma.org or Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation, and there's an online store that you have the opportunity to get things in. And Journey of Hope t-shirts again are supposed to be available this Friday, and it's only $15 because since the trip is based on a number of 15s, $15 is what the t-shirt is, and that the proceeds from that will go to cholangiocarcinoma research. So it's money well spent.
So you ladies and gentlemen, hobos and tramps, if you want that t-shirt, you can get it. Just go on there now, cholangiocarcinoma.org, and go to the store and buy the t-shirt, $15. Be part of this thing. It'd be cool. You'll be in the in crowd, and I'm going to get one too. And if Dave sends me one, great. I'll have 2 because I'm going to buy one tomorrow. I'm going to buy one as soon as they're ready, and the next show I'll have it on.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you, Dave Fleisher. We wish you Godspeed on your journey of hope, and we encourage everyone who can to donate. You can do that by simply texting the phrase Journey of Hope to 41444 or visit cholangiocarcinoma.org. Dave is calling in to NFN Radio News each week from his trip, and we plan updated reports to help keep everyone abreast of his adventures. We plan to stream our next episode next Friday, June 18, so watch for that. Now we'll take a short break, but I'll be right back with some closing remarks. Hey, thanks guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you'll come back on a regular basis. For longtime listeners, you know we provide narrations of commentary published almost every day on notfakenews.biz. But we've expanded our offering to include newsmaker interviews, and we're going beyond the world of politics for those, presenting guests and topics that I hope you find interesting and enlightening, like this one with Dave Fleisher. So that's just another reason for you to follow NFN Radio News so you don't miss an episode. You never know who'll be showing up. Check out notfakenews.biz too, where you'll find new material just about every day by some excellent writers with perspectives on a whole range of topics. You can sign up as a member at notfakenews.biz. And of course, it's all free. Also, let your friends know about this podcast and about notfakenews.biz. Our goal is to be informative and entertaining as we comment on the latest developments in the news. This is Bob Gaddy signing off for NFN Radio News and notfakenews.biz.